What if the very thing you are chasing is being pushed further away by the act of chasing it? Think about that for a moment. How much of your life has been spent running after something? A relationship, financial freedom, success, recognition, happiness, or a dream that seems just out of reach. You tell yourself that if you work harder, worry more, think about it constantly, and never let it leave your mind, then one day it will finally be yours. But what if that approach is keeping you trapped? Most people live in a state of pursuit. They wake up thinking about what they don't have. They spend their days trying to close the gap between where they are and where they want to be. And every moment of chasing silently reinforces the same message. I don't have it yet. The problem is not the desire itself. The problem is the state from which the desire is approached. When you chase, you affirm separation. When you trust, you affirm possession. There is a profound difference between wanting something and knowing it is yours. One state is filled with effort, anxiety, and uncertainty. The other is filled with peace, confidence, and expectation. The person who already possesses what they desire does not spend every moment searching for proof. They do not constantly wonder if it will happen. They do not measure every day by external results. They live with a quiet certainty that allows them to enjoy life while remaining faithful to their vision. This message is about making that shift. It is about moving from striving to allowing, from force to faith, from chasing to receiving. It is about understanding that what you seek cannot be obtained by desperately pursuing it. It is received when you become inwardly aligned with it. Today, we will explore 5 powerful principles that reveal why letting go is not giving up, why trust is stronger than struggle, and why the moment you stop chasing may be the moment everything begins moving toward you. Because sometimes the fastest way to receive what you desire is to stop running after it and become the person who already knows it is coming. One of the greatest mistakes people make when pursuing a desire is believing that more effort, more worry, and more chasing will bring it closer. At first, this seems logical. If you want something, you naturally think you must go after it. If you desire success, you chase success. If you desire love, you chase love. If you desire abundance, you chase abundance. Yet there is a hidden problem within this approach. Every moment spent chasing something often reinforces the belief that it is not already yours. The very act of pursuit can keep your attention fixed on the absence of what you want rather than the reality of having it. Think about the emotional experience of chasing. When you are chasing something, what are you feeling? Usually, there is a sense of urgency. There is a feeling that something important is missing. There is often anxiety about whether you will obtain it and fear that it might never arrive. These emotions all point to the same state: lack. The mind becomes focused on the gap between where you are and where you want to be. Instead of feeling fulfilled, you feel incomplete. Instead of feeling confident, you feel uncertain. Instead of feeling abundant, you feel deprived. This is why chasing can become a trap. The more intensely you focus on not having something, the more real that absence feels. You wake up thinking about it. You spend your day worrying about it. You look for signs that it is getting closer. You constantly measure your progress. Without realizing it, your attention remains fixed on the fact that you do not yet possess what you desire. And because your attention shapes your experience, the feeling of lack becomes stronger. Imagine someone who desperately wants a particular outcome. They check their phone every few minutes. They analyze every conversation. They search for clues in every circumstance. They become emotionally dependent on external confirmation. Their happiness rises and falls according to what they see. This constant monitoring creates exhaustion because the mind never rests. It is always looking for evidence that the desire is on its way. Yet the more they search, the more they reinforce the belief that it has not arrived. Now compare that with someone who already possesses what they desire. A person who already has something does not chase it. They do not spend every moment wondering whether it belongs to them. They do not constantly seek proof. There is a natural sense of ease that comes with ownership. There is a quiet confidence that requires no effort. This difference is important because it reveals the state you are occupying. Chasing belongs to the state of not having. Confidence belongs to the state of already having. This does not mean you stop taking action in life. It does not mean you become passive or indifferent. The issue is not action itself. The issue is the emotional state behind the action. Action taken from desperation feels very different from action taken from confidence. One is driven by fear. The other is guided by trust. One says, I must make this happen or I will not be okay. The other says, I am already secure and I move forward with confidence. When you recognize this distinction, something begins to shift. You stop treating your desire as proof of your worth. You stop making your happiness dependent on its arrival. You stop giving it the power to determine how you feel about yourself. Instead, you begin cultivating the emotional state you would naturally experience if the desire were already fulfilled. As this happens, the urge to chase starts fading. You no longer feel compelled to force outcomes. You no longer need constant reassurance. The desire may still exist, but it no longer controls your emotional world. You become calmer, more patient, more confident. You begin relating to your goal from a place of fulfillment rather than lack. This is the paradox that many people overlook. The harder you chase from a state of absence, the more you reinforce the feeling of not having. But when you stop identifying with lack and start identifying with fulfillment, your entire relationship with the desire changes. You move from pursuit to possession, from longing to confidence, from struggle to trust. So take a moment and ask yourself, what are you chasing today? More importantly, what feeling is that chase creating within you? If it is creating anxiety, fear, or desperation, then perhaps it is time to step back. Perhaps it is time to stop affirming absence and start embracing fulfillment. Because the moment you stop chasing what you believe is missing, you create space to experience the confidence of someone who already knows that what is meant for them cannot be lost. Once you understand that chasing keeps your attention on what is missing, the next step is to become the person who already has what you desire. This is where the real transformation begins. Most people spend their lives trying to get something from the outside world. They believe that once they receive the relationship, the money, the opportunity, or the success they desire, they will finally become confident, secure, and fulfilled. But this way of thinking places the result before the state. It assumes that external circumstances create inner feelings. The deeper truth is that lasting change often begins when the inner state comes first. Think about the version of yourself who already has everything you desire. How would that person think? How would that person feel? How would that person respond to everyday situations? If you already possessed the success you seek, would you spend your days doubting yourself? If you already enjoyed the relationship you desire, would you constantly worry about being loved? If you already had financial freedom, would you live in constant fear of lack? The answer is obvious. The person who already has the desired outcome thinks differently because they identify with a different reality. Most people attempt to change their lives without changing their identity. They continue thinking like the person who lacks the desire, while hoping to experience the results of someone who already has it. They want abundance while feeling poor. They want love while feeling unworthy. They want success while believing they are not enough. These conflicting states create inner tension. The mind continues returning to familiar patterns because the identity has not changed. To become the person who already has it, you must begin with imagination. Not imagination as fantasy, but imagination as a tool for experiencing a new state of consciousness. Close your eyes and ask yourself, who would I be if my desire were already fulfilled? Do not focus on the desire itself. Focus on the version of you who has already received it. Notice the confidence. Notice the ease. Notice the absence of fear. Notice how naturally that version of you moves through life. One of the most powerful shifts you can make is to stop waiting for circumstances to give you permission to feel fulfilled. Instead, choose those feelings now. If your fulfilled self feels grateful, practice gratitude today. If your fulfilled self feels confident, carry yourself with confidence today. If your fulfilled self feels secure, begin cultivating that security within yourself. The goal is not to pretend. The goal is to familiarize yourself with the state you wish to occupy. At first, this may feel unusual because the mind tends to cling to old identities. If you have spent years thinking of yourself as someone who struggles, the identity of success may feel unfamiliar. If you have spent years feeling overlooked, the identity of being valued may seem strange. But every identity feels unfamiliar in the beginning. The more often you return to the new state, the more natural it becomes. What once felt artificial gradually starts feeling real. Notice that people who are truly confident do not constantly announce their confidence. People who are genuinely secure do not spend all day proving their security. They simply live from it. In the same way, when you become the person who already has what you desire, you stop seeking constant validation. You stop needing endless signs. You stop obsessing over outcomes. Why? Because your identity is no longer tied to waiting. This shift affects every area of life. Your decisions improve because they come from confidence instead of fear. Your relationships improve because you are no longer seeking others to complete you. Your goals become easier to pursue because you are motivated by inspiration rather than desperation. You begin acting from a place of wholeness. So do not spend your days asking how to get what you want. Ask who you would be if you already had it. Then begin embodying that version of yourself now. Think from that state. Feel from that state. Make decisions from that state. Return to it again and again until it becomes familiar. Because the moment you become the person who already has what you desire, you stop living as someone who is waiting for life to change. You begin living as someone who has already changed within. And when your inner identity changes, your experience of life begins to change with it. After you begin embodying the version of yourself who already has what you desire, there is another important step that many people overlook: releasing the need to control the process. This is often where the greatest inner struggle occurs. Most people can imagine a better future. Many can even feel inspired for a short time. But then the mind begins asking questions. How will it happen? When will it happen? Who will make it happen? What if it does not happen? These questions create anxiety because they shift attention away from the fulfilled state and back toward uncertainty. The desire to control every detail comes from a natural human tendency to seek security. The mind wants guarantees. It wants clear timelines. It wants to know exactly how events will unfold. Yet life rarely operates according to our preferred schedule. Some of the most important opportunities, relationships, and breakthroughs arrive in ways we could never have predicted. If you become obsessed with controlling the process, you limit yourself to what your current understanding can imagine. You leave little room for possibilities beyond your present perspective. Think about how often people delay their peace because they are waiting for answers. They tell themselves they will relax when they know exactly how things are going to work out. They believe certainty about the future is necessary before they can feel secure. As a result, they spend their days trapped in worry. They analyze every circumstance. They overthink every delay. They constantly search for signs that everything is moving according to plan. But this habit does not create confidence. It creates exhaustion. Imagine planting a seed in the ground. Once the seed is planted, there is a period when nothing appears to be happening. Beneath the surface, however, important processes are taking place. Roots are forming. Growth has already begun. If you become impatient and dig up the seed every day to inspect it, you interfere with the very process you are trying to encourage. In the same way, constantly questioning and controlling every aspect of your desire often pulls you out of the state of trust. Releasing control does not mean giving up. It does not mean becoming passive or careless. It means understanding the difference between your role and the role of the process itself. Your role is to remain faithful to the state you have chosen. Your role is to cultivate confidence, gratitude, and fulfillment. Your role is to align your thoughts and emotions with the reality you wish to experience. The details of how events unfold do not need to occupy your constant attention. One of the reasons people struggle to let go is because they fear that if they stop worrying, nothing will happen. They have become so accustomed to anxiety that it feels productive. Yet worry rarely improves outcomes. It consumes energy, creates tension, and reinforces feelings of uncertainty. Trust, on the other hand, allows the mind to relax. It creates space for clarity, inspiration, and unexpected opportunities. When you release the need to control the process, you free yourself from the burden of figuring everything out. You no longer feel responsible for forcing every door to open. You stop trying to manipulate circumstances into matching your expectations. Instead, you allow yourself to remain open. You become receptive rather than resistant. This openness often leads to solutions and opportunities that would have been overlooked while trapped in worry. Notice how different life feels when you trust. Your breathing becomes easier. Your thoughts become calmer. You stop interpreting every setback as a sign of failure. You stop assuming that delays mean denial. You begin understanding that not everything can be judged by appearances. Sometimes progress is invisible. Sometimes important changes occur beneath the surface long before they become visible. As you continue your journey, remind yourself that your responsibility is not to control every detail. Your responsibility is to maintain the state of the person you wish to become. Let go of the need to know exactly how everything will happen. Let go of the urge to force outcomes. Let go of the habit of constantly checking for proof. Trust that life is capable of unfolding in ways greater than your current imagination can predict. Trust that what is meant for you does not require endless struggle. Trust that unseen processes may already be moving things into place. Because the moment you release the need to control the process, you create room for something remarkable to happen. You move from fear to faith, from tension to peace, and from forcing to allowing. And in that state of trust, life often begins revealing possibilities that control could never have created. One of the greatest challenges people face is learning how to trust their inner conviction when the outer world seems to tell a different story. Most individuals have been conditioned to believe only what they can see, hear, touch, and measure. They look to circumstances for confirmation, and they allow visible evidence to determine how they feel. If conditions appear favorable, they feel hopeful. If conditions appear unfavorable, they become discouraged. Their confidence rises and falls with external events. As a result, they live in a constant state of reaction rather than creation. But true transformation begins when inner certainty becomes stronger than outer evidence. This does not mean ignoring reality or pretending circumstances do not exist. It means refusing to let temporary appearances define your state of mind. It means understanding that what you see today is often the result of old assumptions, old beliefs, and old patterns of thinking. If you wish to experience something new, you must be willing to remain faithful to a new state even before it becomes visible. Think about how often people abandon their goals because they do not see immediate results. They begin with enthusiasm, but when the desired outcome does not appear quickly, doubt starts to grow. They ask themselves whether they are wasting their time. They question their vision. They allow current circumstances to convince them that nothing is changing. Yet many of the most important changes in life begin invisibly. Just because something cannot be seen does not mean it is not taking place. Imagine a builder constructing a house. Before the walls appear, there is planning. Before the roof is visible, there is a foundation. The most important part of the structure is often hidden beneath the surface. If someone judged the project too early, they might conclude that nothing significant is happening, yet the foundation is what supports everything that follows. In the same way, inner certainty acts as the foundation for future experiences. It is built before results become visible. Most people try to develop certainty from evidence. They tell themselves, when I see proof, then I will believe. But this approach creates a dependency on circumstances. It gives the outer world control over your inner state. A different approach is to cultivate certainty first, to choose confidence before evidence appears, to choose trust before results arrive, to choose fulfillment before circumstances change. This requires patience because the mind naturally seeks reassurance. It wants confirmation that everything is working. It wants signs that progress is being made. Yet constant searching for proof often reinforces the belief that proof is still needed. Every time you demand evidence before allowing yourself to feel confident, you postpone the very state that can help transform your experience. Inner certainty is not loud or dramatic. It does not need to convince anyone. It is a quiet knowing. It is the calm confidence that remains even when appearances have not yet changed. It is the ability to stay faithful to a vision without constantly questioning it. People with inner certainty do not spend their lives chasing reassurance. They trust their chosen direction and continue moving forward. As you develop this quality, you will notice a shift in the way you respond to challenges. Temporary setbacks no longer have the same power over you. Delays no longer create panic. You stop interpreting every obstacle as a sign that something is wrong. Instead, you maintain your focus on the state you have chosen. You understand that circumstances can change, but your inner conviction remains steady. This does not mean you become stubborn or unrealistic. It means you stop allowing every external event to dictate your emotional state. You stop handing your confidence over to appearances. You begin living from a deeper level of trust. The world around you may fluctuate, but your inner foundation remains strong. So make it your practice to strengthen certainty from within. Do not wait for life to give you permission to believe. Do not wait for circumstances to confirm your worth, your potential, or your future. Choose the state you wish to embody and remain faithful to it. Let confidence come from your vision rather than your current conditions. Let peace come from your assumptions rather than your surroundings. Because the moment inner certainty becomes stronger than outer evidence, something powerful happens. You stop reacting to life and start influencing the way you experience it. You stop living as a prisoner of appearances and begin living as a person guided by conviction. And when that conviction becomes natural, The outer world often begins reflecting the confidence you have already established within yourself. After learning to stop chasing, becoming the person who already has the desire, releasing the need to control the process, and developing inner certainty, there is one final step that brings all these principles together: live fully and allow life to respond. This may sound simple, but it is often the step that people struggle with the most. Many individuals become so focused on their desires that they forget how to enjoy their lives. They spend their days waiting for the relationship, waiting for the opportunity, waiting for the money, waiting for the breakthrough. Their happiness becomes tied to a future event, and until that event arrives, they feel as though life is on hold. But life was never meant to be lived in a state of waiting. Think about how much energy is consumed when you constantly monitor your desires. You check for signs, search for evidence, analyze every circumstance, and wonder when something will finally happen. The desire becomes the center of your attention. Instead of living, you are observing. Instead of enjoying the present, you are measuring the distance between where you are and where you want to be. This creates emotional tension because your focus remains fixed on what seems absent. Living fully means breaking free from that cycle. It means deciding that your life is valuable now, not just after your desire appears. It means refusing to postpone joy, peace, gratitude, and fulfillment until some future condition is met. The person who truly trusts does not spend every day wondering whether their desire is coming. They spend their day living. They engage with the present moment. They appreciate what is already available. They allow themselves to experience life instead of constantly evaluating it. Imagine someone who has planted a seed and trusts that it will grow. They do not sit beside the soil all day staring at it. They continue living their life. They work, laugh, learn, connect with others, and enjoy their experiences. The seed remains planted, but it no longer consumes all their attention. In the same way, once you have accepted a desire inwardly, there comes a point when you must stop watching and start living. One reason this principle is so powerful is that it naturally shifts your state from lack to abundance. People who are obsessed with outcomes often feel incomplete. Their attention is always directed toward what they do not yet have. But people who live fully recognize the richness of the present moment. They notice opportunities, relationships, lessons, and blessings that would otherwise go unnoticed. Their awareness expands beyond a single desire, and life begins to feel more abundant. Living fully also creates emotional freedom. You no longer feel trapped by circumstances. You stop allowing your mood to depend on whether something has arrived. Instead, you discover that peace is available now, gratitude is available now, confidence is available now. This realization changes everything because it breaks the illusion that fulfillment exists only in the future. Another important aspect of living fully is remaining open to unexpected possibilities. When people become fixated on a specific outcome, they often overlook opportunities that arrive in different forms. They become attached to one path and fail to recognize other doors opening around them. By relaxing and engaging with life, you become more aware, more flexible, and more receptive. You allow life room to surprise you. Notice how different your energy becomes when you stop waiting. There is less pressure, less fear, less urgency. You are no longer trying to force the future into existence. You are participating in the present. And ironically, it is often during these moments of relaxed engagement that life begins presenting the very opportunities you were seeking. This does not happen because you stopped caring. It happens because you stopped resisting. You stopped making your happiness dependent on a single outcome. You stopped affirming lack through constant observation. You returned to a state of wholeness, And from that state, life can respond more naturally. So live your life. Pursue your interests. Strengthen your relationships. Learn new skills. Explore new experiences. Laugh more. Appreciate more. Trust more. Let your desire exist without making it the center of your world. Allow yourself to enjoy today rather than